Chapter 1. King Zhou and Goddess Nu-Wa. The Shang dynasty replaced the Xia dynasty and ruled China for nearly 650 years. The Shang court produced 28 kings, of whom King Zhou was the last. Before King Zhou ascended the throne, he and his father, King Di, and many civil and military officials were walking in the royal garden one day, viewing the blooming peonies, when suddenly the flying cloud pavilion collapsed and a beam flew towards them. Rushing forward, King Zhou, or then Prince Zhou, caught the beam and replaced it in a display of miraculous strength. Deeply impressed, Prime Minister Shang Rong and Supreme Minister Mei Bo advised King Di to name him Crown Prince. When King Di passed away after 30 years on the throne, Crown Prince Zhou was immediately crowned king to rule the country in his father's place. King Zhou established his capital at Zhaoge, a metropolis on the Yellow River. The king appointed Grand Tutor Wenzhong to be in charge of civil affairs and Huang Feihu, Prince for national pacification and of military prowess, to supervise military affairs. In this way, the king hoped the nation would live in peace under a civil administration backed up by the military. The king placed Queen Jiang in the central palace, concubine Huang in the West Palace, and concubine Yang in the Fragrant Palace. They were all virtuous and chaste in their behavior, and mild and gentle in manner. King Zhou ruled his country in peace, and was respected by the neighboring states. His people worked happily in their different professions, and his peasants were especially blessed by favorable winds and rains. There were 800 marquises in the country who offered their allegiance to 4 dukes, each of whom ruled over 200 of these marquises on behalf of King Zhou. The 4 dukes were the East Grand Duke Jiang Huanchu, the South Grand Duke Chongyu, the West Grand Duke Jicheng, and the North Grand Duke Chonghohu. In the 2nd month of the 7th year of the reign of King Zhou, a report reached Zhaoge of a rebellion of 72 marquises in the North Sea district, and Grand Tutor Wenzhong was immediately ordered to lead a strong army to suppress the rebels. One day when King Zhou was holding court, Shang Rong stepped out from the right row, knelt and said, "Your humble Prime Minister Shang Rong begs to report something urgent to your Majesty. Tomorrow is the 15th day of the 3rd month, the birthday of Goddess Nu-Wa, and your Majesty should honor her and hold a ceremony at her temple. What has Goddess Nu-Wa done that a great king such as myself is obliged to go to her temple and worship her?" King Zhou asked. "Goddess Nu-Wa's been a great goddess since ancient times and possesses saintly virtues. When the enraged demon Gong Gong knocked his head against Buzhou Mountain, the northwest section of heaven collapsed and the earth sunk down in the southeast. At this critical moment, Nu-Wa came to the rescue and mended heaven with multicolored stones she had obtained and refined from a mountain." Shang Rong explained. "She's performed this great service for the people who've built temples to honor her in gratitude. Zhaoge is fortunate to have the chance to worship this kind goddess. She'll ensure peace and health to the people and prosperity to the country. She'll bring us timely wind and rain and keep us free from famine and war. She's the proper guardian angel for both the people and the nation. So I make bold to suggest that your Majesty honor her tomorrow." "You're right, Prime Minister. I'll do as you advise." Returning to his residential palace, King Zhou ordered a notice be issued that His Majesty, together with his civil and military officials, were to make a pilgrimage to worship Goddess Nu-Wa at her temple the next day. It would have been better if he hadn't gone at all, for it was this very pilgrimage that caused the fall of the Shang dynasty, making it impossible for the people to live in peace. It was as if the king had tossed a fishing line into a big river and unexpectedly caught numerous disasters, leading to the loss of both his throne and his life. The king and his entourage left the palace and made their way through the south gate of the capital. Every house they passed was decorated with bright silk, and the streets were scented for the king by burning incense. The king was accompanied by 3,000 cavalrymen and 800 royal guards under the command of General Huang Feihu, Prince for national pacification and of military prowess, and followed by all the officials of the royal court. Reaching the temple of Goddess Nu-Wa, King Zhou left his royal carriage and went to the main hall, where he burned incense sticks, bowed low with his ministers, and offered prayers. King Zhou then wandered about the hall, finding it splendidly decorated in gold and other colors. Before the statue of the goddess stood golden lads holding pennants, and jade lasses holding S-shaped jade ornaments which symbolized peace and happiness. The jade hooks on the curtain hung obliquely, like new crescent moons suspended in the air, and hundreds of fine phoenixes embroidered on the curtain appeared to be flying towards the North Pole. Beside the altar of the goddess, made of fragrant wood, cranes and dragons were dancing in the scented smoke rising from the gold incense burners and the sparkling flames of the silvery candles. As King Zhou was admiring the splendors of the hall, a whirlwind suddenly blew up, rolling back the curtain and exposing the image of the goddess to all. She was extremely beautiful, much more than flowers, more than the fairy in the moon palace, and certainly more than any woman in the world. She looked quite alive, smiling sweetly at the king and staring at him with joy in her eyes. Her utter beauty bewitched King Zhou, setting him on fire with lust. He desired to possess her, and thought to himself in frustration, "Though I'm wealthy and powerful and have concubines and maidservants filling my palace, there's none as beautiful and charming as this goddess." He ordered his attendants to bring brush and ink and wrote a poem on the wall near the image of the goddess to express his admiration and deep love for her. The poem ran like this: "The scene is gay with phoenixes and dragons, but they are only clay and golden colors. Brows like winding hills in jade grape, sleeves like graceful clouds. You're as pear blossoms soaked with raindrops, charming as peonies enveloped in mist. I pray that you come alive, with sweet voice and gentle movements, and I'll bring you along to my palace." When he finished writing, Prime Minister Shang Rong approached him. "Nuwa's been a proper goddess and the guardian angel for Zhaoga. I only suggested that you worship her so that she would continue to bless the people with timely rains and favorable winds, and ensure that they'll continue to live in peace. But with this poem, you've not only shown your lack of sincerity on this trip, but have insulted her as well." He demanded, "This isn't the way a king should behave. I pray you wash this blasphemous poem off the wall, lest you be condemned by the people for your immorality. I found Goddess Nuwa so beautiful that I wrote a poem in praise of her, and that's all. Hold your tongue. Don't forget that I am the king. People will be only too glad to read the poem I wrote in my own hand, for it enables them to identify the true beauty of the goddess." King Zhou dismissed him lightly. The other civil and military officials remained silent, none daring to utter a word. They then returned to the capital. The king went directly to the Dragon Viru court, where he met his queen and concubines in a happy reunion. On her birthday, Goddess Nuwa had left her palace and paid her respects to the three emperors, Fuxi, Shennong, and Xuanyuan. She then returned to her temple, seated herself in the main hall, and received greetings from the golden lads and jade lasses. Looking up, she saw the poem on the wall. "That wicked king." She flew into a rage. "He doesn't think how to protect his country with virtue and morality. On the contrary, he shows no fear of heaven and insults me with this dirty poem. How vile he is. The Shang dynasty's already ruled for over 600 years, and is coming to an end. I must take my revenge on him if I'm to assuage my own conscience." She took action at once. She mounted a phoenix and headed for Zhaoga. King Zhou had two sons. One was Ying Jiao, who later became the star god presiding over the year, and the other Ying Hong, who later became the god of grain. As the two gods paid their respects to their father, two red divine beams rose from the tops of their heads and soared high in the sky, blocking the way of the goddess. Looking down through the clouds, Nuwa at once realized King Zhou had still 28 years to go before his downfall. She also realized that she could do nothing about it at this moment, since that would go against the will of heaven. The goddess returned to her temple, highly displeased. Back in her palace, Goddess Nuwa ordered a young maidservant to fetch a golden gourd and put it on the cinnabar terrace outside her court. When its stopper was removed, Nu-Wa pointed at the gourd with one finger, and suddenly a thick beam of brilliant white light rose from the mouth of the gourd and shot up 50 feet into the air. Hanging from the beam was a multicolored flag called the Demon Summoning Pennant. As soon as this pennant made its appearance, glittering high up in the sky, all demons and evil sprites, no matter where they were, would gather round. Moments later, dark winds began to howl, eerie fogs enveloped the earth, and vicious-looking clouds gathered in the sky. All the demons in the world had arrived to receive her command. Nu-Wa gave orders that all the demons return home except the 3 sprites that dwelt in the grave of Emperor Shun Yun. Who were these 3 sprites? The first was a 1,000-year-old female fox sprite. The second was a female pheasant sprite with 9 heads. And the third was a jade lute sprite. May you live eternally, dear goddess. The 3 sprites greeted Nu-Wa, kowtowing on the cinnabar terrace. Listen carefully to my secret orders. The Shang dynasty's destined to end soon. The singing of the phoenix at Mount Qi augurs the birth of a new ruler in West Qi. This has all been determined by the will of heaven, and no one has the power to change what must happen. You may transform yourselves into beauties, enter the palace, and distract King Zhou from state affairs. You'll be richly rewarded for giving the new dynasty an auspicious start and helping the old one to its downfall. However, you mustn't bring harm to the people. At the end of her order, the 3 sprites kowtowed, turned themselves into winds, and flew away. Since his visit to the temple of goddess Nu-Wa, King Zhou had sunk into a deep depression. He ardently admired the beauty of the goddess and, yearning for her day and night, lost all desire to eat and drink. He had no passion for his queen, his concubines, or the numerous maids in his palace. They now all appeared to him like lumps of clay. He would not be bothered with state affairs. One day, he remembered Feizhong and Yohan, 2 minion courtiers who would flatter and slander as he pleased. King Zhou sent for Feizhong, and the latter appeared in no time. I went to worship goddess Nu-Wa recently. King Zhou began. She's so beautiful, I believe she has no rival in the world, and none of my concubines is to be compared with her. I'm head over heels in love, and feel very sad as I cannot get her. Have you any ideas with which to comfort me? Your Majesty. With all your honor and dignity, you're the most powerful and the richest man in the world. You possess all the wealth within the 4 seas, and are virtuous as the sage emperors Yao and Shun. You may have anything you wish for, and you should have no difficulty in satisfying your desires. You can issue an order tomorrow demanding 100 beauties from the Grand Dukes. You'll then have no trouble finding one as beautiful as goddess Nu-Wa. Feizhong suggested. King Zhou was delighted. He said, "Your suggestion appeals to me greatly. I'll issue the order tomorrow. You may return home for the time being." He then left the throne hall and returned to his royal chambers to rest. If you wish to know what happened thereafter, please read the following chapter.